Hey, so Megan, I'm really excited to talk to you today about your neural retraining journey with me, because it was a pretty amazing turnaround that you had, and I think it'll be really inspiring for a lot of other people. So let's delve into talking about how things were that when you originally found neural retraining, and that wasn't finding me actually, that was finding other neural retraining programs. So tell us a little bit about what your physical health conditions were like that led you to neural retraining.
Okay. Um, so my journey with like chronic illness, just chronic conditions started back in 2015. And they kind of just started with really weird, non-specific symptoms that just kind of progressed here and there a little bit and spread to different areas of my body. I saw several doctors. I bounced around from my primary care to neurologist to gastroenterologist to cardiologist, and finally I did get diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease and mast cell activation syndrome, POTS, and just to name a few. I had just a really long list of symptoms, anxiety from all the trauma, and finally, and when I did get diagnosed with the chronic Lyme, I went down the road of taking multiple antibiotics, and actually took antibiotics while I was pregnant with my son in 2018. And once he was born, I had a complete crash. My whole body was just very weak. Some mornings it was really hard for me to even get up and walk to the bathroom, or like just taking a shower or taking care of myself was just really exhausting and really fatiguing. And I also have a 7-year-old daughter, so it was really challenging trying to balance and be there for them. I also had started to develop POT symptoms, so dizziness, lightheadedness, anxiety attacks just out of the blue. And that was very hard, just trying to be a mom and doing all of those things, and dealing with all of those health issues, and just kind of, I was basically living on the couch all day, and I was trying to get by on doing just the minimum that I could do to take care of my kids and do just the minimum to survive through my day and take care of them. And I think it was like 2021, I was doing some internet research on brain retraining, because I had heard from other people who had struggled with Lyme that helped. So I started doing DNRS, and eventually, and I did enjoy that program. And I did have some benefit from it. I also did Primal Trust, and where they kind of put more somatics in, and dealing kind of the stress within the body that's kind of gets stuck, and that somatics was really beneficial. And now I eventually I still had some of my bigger symptoms were from the POTS, however, though. So the fluctuating blood pressure, the high heart rate, the just feeling really, I still had some fear in my skin. I felt a little bit fearful still. And so I had heard some good things about eutaptics, and was doing some research on that. I found Dr. Keratin online, and that was something that I really wanted to try. And I'm so thankful that I did that. It really did. It's very powerful to sit down with someone who is, you can tell that she's very, very compassionate and understanding and empathetic, and to talk to someone who has that about them, you feel safe and you feel like she's listening and it's comfortable. And I've had a lot of improvement from our 3 sessions together. It worked really quickly for me.
That's awesome. So thank you for that overview. I think that really sets the scene for people. So at the time that we started working together, like what were you still living mostly on the couch? Like what were the things that you could not do because of POTS?
So the things that I could not do were mainly standing for long periods of time. And when I say long periods, like anything more than like a couple minutes, and I'd start to just feel my heart rate increase and feel the adrenaline in my body, and I could just feel it, and that, and then also I used to love working out. I used to love at the time. And I was like, and that was what I would think about, just me being able to run again and doing active things. And that was something that I couldn't do. Anything really active, any like high intensity workouts, nothing like that. So, and I would do, if I did do those things, I would have like a big burnout afterwards where my legs would just be like jello and I couldn't do anymore. It was like my body would just say no more.
Yeah. Okay. So uh let's talk a little bit about what was going on for you emotionally before we started working together. Because, you had done some in terms of the brain retraining that had helped with the emotional aspect of it, but you were still carrying a lot of emotional pain from your journey with illness, but a variety of other things that had happened to you in your life as well. So, what was your, average emotional experience of a day when we started working together?
I would say the main theme, despite the fact that I had done the retraining, a lot of retraining, and I think that it did help take the edge off of a lot of the fear, but I still had some flashbacks to like memory flashbacks and things that had happened. And I felt like I hadn't really worked through those. And I was just kind of trying to like distract myself from that. And so, yeah, all day it was just kind of like almost like a tug of war between me and fear. like, um, and I felt like a lot of times I felt like I wasn't winning, and I felt like I was just kind of, you know, again, just kind of on the couch, and just I would occasionally break down because just crying, because I just felt like I was trying so hard, but I was still dealing with a lot of these trauma memories.
Yeah, absolutely. And then understandably, like when you're really symptomatic and you can't do a lot of the things that you want to do, especially with some of the things that are most precious to you, like being active with your kids, a lot of emotion comes up around that too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, ultimately, when we worked together, we discovered that a lot of the roots of your emotional experiences in the present, as well as your physical symptoms, was actually your past, was a lot of these traumatic experiences. So, can you tell people a little bit about what we actually worked on in sessions, which was not a lot with the physical condition
Mhm.
itself?
Right. It was just basically like going through a lot of these traumatic memories and revisiting them, and kind of just looking at these memories, and that they were provoking to me, but then in our process together, like working together, you were able to help me, just to bring my emotional state down to, like, I went from super anxious to just down to this calm feeling of like I was safe and I'm okay. And we did that through lots of tapping, but also like tapping into things that I love, like music and just colors, and where are my happy places, and where do I usually find peace? And, that would be like the beach. And I would find myself on the beach a lot, and, or drinking my coffee in the morning and just being in this really quiet space, and just that reflective time just completely relaxed me. And again, just doing it along someone that was just that, I mean, is just so compassionate and understanding, and I felt safe. It just really absolutely took my anxiety from like very high to all of a sudden I'm like way down here. And I began to see how much my emotional state was influencing everything where I didn't see that before. So now I feel like I have the tools that if I'm home and I find myself in a situation like that, I can easily bring myself down just by doing the things that we did together.
Yes, empowerment. I love that.
It is.
That is ultimately the goal, right? To make these
Yes.
tools usable by everyone, like for the rest of your life, right? Because
Yes,
stressors are always going to
absolutely.
happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, so, you know, before we started doing this work together, were you aware of how much those traumas were still impacting you? Like, did you know that they were still like, woo, supercharged?
I I did, but for some reason I had this mental block about it because I had been told by so many doctors that no, you know, you do have these infections, and I had been, I think in a sense, brainwashed to believe that I didn't have that kind of power over my own body, that I wasn't able um to do anything about it. And now I absolutely 150% believe that I can, and I can absolutely, like we had talked about before, I can live with anything that's in my body, and I can thrive, and I can play with my kids, and I can exert, and I can do all of these things that yeah, before I think I was just so um stuck on what the doctors were telling me, or what I had doctors tell me, that I just thought that, well, I've got to cure the infection. There's just no way. And now it's like, well, now I have proof that I'm doing better without having, you know, any of that stuff involved. So it is such a, it's a mind thing. And I think it's, again, just so powerful when we can like help each other heal and like do that in a collective way. It's so powerful.
Yes, yes, yes. Love that.
Yeah.
So just so people know, are you treating Lyme right now?
Um, I am, I'm not actually treating Lyme. I was treating uh, some parasites, but I'm actually done with that protocol. So no, I'm not doing anything right now. I do take a detox. It's like I take glutathione and stuff, but I have actually seen the most improvement, and I'm not really, again, I'm not really on anything right now. So yeah, and I've seen the most improvement that I have. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to distinguish, because I think a lot of people wonder, like, oh, well, are you doing both? How do you know it's this, right? And so I think that's great that you ended up
Mhm.
trying this during a time when you weren't doing a lot of physical treatment. So you could see that clearly. Um,
Exactly.
so can you describe for people a little bit about how it feels to go from a memory being like so intense, like you feel like you're there again and you're having the trauma response in your body, and then what it's like after you rewire it?
Yeah, it is absolutely like freeing. I Because I do sometimes, like our brain, like I've noticed my mind just kind of sometimes pops things up, and I'm like, well, that's weird that I thought that, but I'm able to distinguish that even more than I ever was before, that that part of me is not the actual person that I am, and that I am the person that's running the show, and not like, and I kind of compare it to like a 3-year-old, you know, that that's not me. So when I do have thoughts that pop up in my head, I'm able to see them like really separately now, even more than I ever have before. And it has taken me a long time to get to this point, because I tried to do it with the brain retraining too, but I feel like just all the different modes of like help that I elicited from brain retraining and the eutaptics. I feel like I'm at a place now where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see how these thoughts are affecting like how I'm feeling, and they aren't who I am. So when I do have those, I'm just able to like just see them that as different from me and separate from me. So yeah, it's very
Yes.
freeing. I can go out, and like I took my kids to the library, and I'm like I'm not feeling like my anxiety level is so much more subdued. And even if I do have thoughts, I'm like, oh well, that's it's just like it's nothing anymore. It doesn't trigger me as much as it used to. It used to take me down, and now it's just a thought is a thought. It's not who I am. So
Yes, right. So you used to have thoughts like worst case scenarios of for your health, or like, maybe some like self-critical thought or something like that, and you would just like spiral, right? It would just like go on and
exactly.
on. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
I would
go
feel
ahead.
it in my body, and the sensation, yeah, sensations, and just I remember feeling like, and now I can distinguish all of those, and I know the difference between like it just like now I know when I'm having a thought like that, the feeling that I have in my body, and how that's not it had nothing to do with like the infections. It just had to do with the way that I was clinging to these memories like they were my truth, and they were not my truth.
Yes. So if you think about one of those memories now that we rewired, like what
Mhm.
happens inside you?
Nothing. I kind of laugh, honestly. Like I laugh about it. It doesn't even bother me at all anymore. So it's like it's so freeing. And now that I'm in this place, like I can go do things with my kids. I can take my daughter, like it snowed, and I was able to take her up the road on a sled, and I did not have any like pushback from my body at all. Like I slept well, and I woke up and I felt really good. So and
Amazing.
before when yes, and before when I would do a physically exertional activity, I would I like walk a mile even. I would come back, and the next day my legs would not work to the point I couldn't walk much at all after like the whole day. And now I'm able to go to sleep well, wake up, and do it all over again. So that's like it gives
Hallelujah.
me, I know, it gives me so much hope, and it gives me confidence and faith and just all of these just beautiful things, and I'm just so thankful.
Yes, awesome. I love that. So, we worked on a number of different categories of traumas for you. Like some of them were, healthcare related or, medical trauma. But some of them were in another category that I wonder if you're open to talking about, because I think there are many women who have pregnancy and birth trauma, or
Mhm.
being a new parent trauma. And it's almost like that's not okay to talk about. And I think it's important to talk about because it's so common.
Yep.
So are you comfortable talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And
Um,
how that played a role in the onset of your symptoms, right? Because when we looked
yes.
back at it, it was like, whoa, those two happened at the same time.
Right. Because what had happened is when immediately after I had my daughter in 2015, I it was like something switched in my brain, and I brought her home, and I mentally was not okay. I was having just rumination of thoughts, and just thoughts that scared me, and I didn't know what they were coming from, and I was identifying with them at the time, and I was like thinking, oh my gosh, this is like I'm going to be a terrible mom, and having so many fears about taking care of her, and like just the basic care stuff, giving her a bath, changing her diaper. I just had so much anxiety about it, and thoughts that scared me, and going it just, that is where it started for me. And that was, it was so obvious that, and now it's obvious, but at the time, it wasn't so obvious to me that my nervous system was just really, it had been, like pushed off balance, after having my daughter. And you think about it, it is a pretty traumatic thing that, you know, a lot of women go through if it's a difficult pregnancy and birth. And I had that with both my son and daughter. My son, it was a little bit easier, the birth was, but with my daughter, it was very challenging. I went through a lot of just challenging things with that, and was very sick while I was pregnant. And just, yeah, that threw my nervous system off. And then that was when I started having all of this stuff happen.
Yeah, it makes sense. And, you know, along with the sleep deprivation that is a necessary part of being a new parent, you can
Yeah.
imagine how, like, even if you didn't have a whole lot of trauma through the experience, that it still may throw your nervous system off. And I think that's something that it's important that we talk about, because
Mhm.
most women probably are still having babies, and
Absolutely.
it's a real initiation. And
Oh
so
yeah.
we need to do some self-care eventually to recover the
Yes,
state of our nervous system, right?
exactly. Yep. Exactly.
So the last, you know, major thing that I think would help a lot of people, inspire a lot of people to know about your story, is your sort of journey with body image issues, self-worth issues, and, you know, kind of how that started and then perpetuated once you got sick.
Hmm. Yeah, so I have had a history of eating disorders, for as far back as, like, I mean, as probably, I don't know, high school, maybe before then. And just always had the problem of comparing myself to my mom, and like, just, instead of kind of finding the beauty in who I was as a person, um, just concentrating on that a lot. And so I always had kind of that feeling like I wasn't quite good enough. And no matter what I would do, I just always felt that way growing up and into my 20s. And I didn't have any health issues at the time, but what ended up happening is when I got sick after I had my daughter, it was like, I did end up gaining weight, and because of the, you know, because of everything that I was dealing with at the time, and that self-image issue and the confidence issues, like, all piggybacked on the health issues I was having. And that is something that, it's an everyday thing, but I'm, just through brain retraining and like working with you, I've like really, every single day, like, I tell myself why I am worthy of love and why I, deserve love. And I tell my kids that too. And it has nothing to do with my physical appearance. It doesn't have anything to do with that. And just really focusing on taking care of myself, regardless of those physical things, and making sure that I'm telling myself that I love myself and I'm worthy of that love, and my kids as well. And yeah, so it was like everything kind of compounded, and that the Lyme and all that stuff did make it, the body images worse. But I feel like in the long run, I've grown so much in like a mental aspect, and I have so much more wisdom with everything that I feel like with time, I know I'm gonna lose the weight, and I know I'm going to, you know, be in a healthier body. But in this meantime, I'm gonna love the body that I'm in, because I'm worthy of love. Everyone is worthy of love, and we're all beautiful, and to we don't need to find things from the outside to confirm that, because we just are. And we're, and so I think every day, just constantly reminding myself that I'm worthy of that has like really helped, with the body image issues. Yeah.
Mhm. Beautiful. That sounds also very freeing.
Yes.
Um, One of the things that I think we worked on, and I work on with a lot of people with body image issues, is we tend to, and this may be culturally
Mhm.
perpetuated, like maybe that's where this pattern comes from, but we tend to have this paradigm of trying to criticize or punish ourselves into, whatever change we think we need to make, right? And that especially comes out with body image stuff, right? So people are like trying to criticize or punish themselves into exercising or into, eating a healthy diet. And what was your experience with that? And, how are you approaching that now in terms of trying to have a healthy lifestyle that works for you?
Yeah, before all of this, I absolutely was punishing myself. I took sugar out. I tried to not eat as many carbohydrates. I was, just, pull out fruit from my diet, um, and just like trying, yeah, punishing myself with like anything that had any kind of sugar in it, or just trying to follow the next fad of a diet, or like and now I I do work with a dietitian now, and I'm getting an understanding of like what does a meal need to have in it for me to be able to move my body and to have energy, and for all of my systems to work the way that they should. And it was actually eye-opening because like a lot of the stuff that she recommended to be eating, I really wasn't eating a proper amount of like fats, protein, and carbohydrates with my meals. And since I've been doing that, I've been feeling just like, I think it just, everything is like that I've done has like just been another layer of like help for myself and self-love, in a way. And I've been feeling just a good amount of energy. And I think eating like appropriately for my body and what I need has helped that. And I haven't cut any food group out. And I feel like that's the best approach for me, because for my whole life it has been, oh, don't, you can't have that, you can't have this, you can't have, but the truth is that no foods are really bad. There's just, my dietitian said it's like that. Some of them are just more nutrient dense than others, and we just have to be kind of aware of what we're eating and mindfully eating. And I think that's kind of goes hand in hand with the brain retraining, and giving me the message that I am in control of what I'm eating, and I'm going to feed my body good things because I'm worthy of that. And same thing goes with like movement. I'm trying to take more of the approach that, whether or not like this makes me look a certain way or what have you, it's about giving my body healthy things, and it's about moving my body every day in a way that's good for it, in a way that makes me feel good.
Yes. So releasing the body image issues allowed you to then view exercise and diet from the perspective of, oh, what's healthy for me and what is self-loving to me,
Mhm,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
awesome. I love that. So if you were going to talk to somebody who had, was sick in either emotionally or physically or both, and they had never tried neural retraining or they hadn't tried this type of neural retraining, like what would you say to them about your experience with it and, something that may inspire them to want to give it a try, even though it's different and it's like new and it's kind of weird.
Yeah. I would just say to absolutely give it a shot, and there and that and tell them, my story and what struggles I came from, um, and just in a very kind way, and just being nice to yourself along the way. And if it takes a while, it takes a while, and you're not, that was the one thing I think with like DNRS too. It was like, oh my gosh, this is taking forever. But that was also another like loop in my brain that I was like telling myself that it has to be on a timeline. I would just say be very patient with yourself, and above all else, do loving things for yourself, um, and absolutely give eutaptics and brain retraining a chance, because you don't always realize it in the moment, but then like the next day you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, something's a little bit different today. And, you know, even if it's like a little improvement, like that is indicating that your brain, it's changing, and you're retraining your brain every day. You don't even know that you are, but you are. You're letting your body know what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. And I think that just, you know, taking things very slowly, and yeah, and getting those loops in the brain to just look at them for what they are, and they're not you, they're not your true identity. And we all kind of have this, the way I like to see it is like this light inside of us that is like our true main personality, and like, and that needs to be the person that's running the show, not like this, like I kind of had this like 3-year-old like running the show in my body. And just, yeah, just taking everything very slowly, and absolutely doing brain retraining, because it has been the thing that has really changed my whole perspective on everything. And I see the improvements and what I'm able to do physically and what I'm able to handle emotionally now, and regulate myself afterwards. Whereas before I would just be like a puddle of like like just a nervous wreck. And now I can handle things, and I can regulate myself. And I may not, I may never be rid of like infections in my body, but I'm able to regulate my nervous system now and help myself in the moment. So it's not even a problem. I can coexist with anything in my body. And I think that eutaptics is just such an amazing brain retraining tool to just help you get past those loops. Yeah.
Yes. And I was just going to say that I think that part of what led to your success is you did the two things that I would suggest anybody do that needs to do neural retraining or would benefit from it. And that is, you know, the piece of the puzzle where you are really working one-on-one with somebody on your really big stuff, right? Your big traumas, your big issues that are really sticky for you, where you just keep getting stuck in those loops, you know? And somebody can really help to break you out of those, and pretty quickly, right? Like we only did 3 sessions and we tackled all these things, like a whole bunch of different things.
It was awesome.
And it was very fast. And I remember even after our first session together, you were like, oh, like I had this day where I cleaned all day and I did all this stuff and I didn't have a headache, and it was a freaking miracle.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
And yeah, and that happens and you're like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden, you know, we're like 2-3 weeks out, and I'm able to, I start to notice these changes, and like the desire for me even to like want to take my daughter up the road, for instance, in a sled. Like I wouldn't have even like touched the sled a couple of years ago. Like I wouldn't have even like thought to do that, because I would have been too afraid. But now I'm like, no, I'm doing this, and I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to enjoy my life. And I know my body's strong enough. I just have that confidence now. And I feel like it's kind of like unshakable with my confidence to be able to do the things I want and love to do.
Yes.
So, and yes, like you said, it's just, I kept on saying that too when we were working together. It's like, it is so just absolutely profound, and like, and so just the change and the feeling of like how much it works so quickly by working with you. Like it was just, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing how fast this works. Like, and it is the difference between like working on it with somebody who is, you know, caring and you trust and creates a safe space, and you just feel like, okay, I can do this.
Yes. But then, you know, the other piece of the puzzle that I think made you successful is that you simultaneously had these self-help tools. And I know that I taught you some more, but you already had a foundation of them. And so it's almost like, you know, the private one-on-one work was like a catapult that like got you into the sky where you wanted to be. but then you had your own tools and techniques to keep you up there, right? And
Right.
so that when something like, a negative thought or a stressful event or something would start to take you down towards the ground again, you'd be
Mhm.
like, nope, 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 I'm coming back
Nope.
up here,
Yep.
right?
Yes,
And I
exactly.
think I
Yes.
think everybody needs both.
Yes, absolutely. And, just using as many tools as you can just that help you. Like, I think that is wonderful. And then, like, I think it was yesterday, like, I didn't need my inner, like, I have a little inner balance tool from, I can't remember where exactly I found it, but it's like basically measures my heart rate variability and tells me like if my, if I'm not in heart coherence. And I didn't even
Yes.
have to use it yesterday because I felt so calm and I
Yes.
felt calm all day long. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the result of like all the brain rewiring and everything. Cause I'm not, like I said, I'm not treating with anything, just, my regular, it's pretty much vitamins and stuff now. And I
Yeah.
felt calm all day long. Not one, not, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, it's just, it really is.
Yes, exactly. And you did that, and it didn't take a lot of pain and strife and Herc's reactions and all this
No,
stuff
no.
that
Oh
most
my
people are
gosh,
going through.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
So that's
absolutely.
awesome. I love to see you
Yes.
where you are today. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share, or do you feel like we covered it all?
Oh my gosh. I think I covered just about everything, yeah, that I wanted to. Just yeah, I mean, I um I think the main thing is never like just never giving up and always having the belief that you will heal and you are going to get better too. Just even if you're feeling really bad physically and mentally, like no matter how bad I felt physically and mentally, I always held on to that belief and that like that fire inside of me that I would get well one day
Yes.
and that this would pass. And I believe that's like super important for people to hold on to, even when they feel really, really bad. And it's just having that hope and then faith and that was really like what kept me going and like kind of saying, well, I'm going to continue looking for people that I believe that will help me. And that's exactly what happened. It's like they all kind of fell into place. So just never giving up.
Yes, I 100% agree. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining
Thank
me and
you.
sharing your story. Like, I know it's going to inspire a lot of people.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it.